Morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be with you. I want to thank Mitch for inviting me to moderate this part of the meeting, and hopefully I can bring a few pertinent data points. Great, thank you. It is 9 years since I headed south from Toronto to Philadelphia in Latin America. So now that the snow appears to have cleared at least temporarily, I can say with some enthusiasm that it's great to be back in Canada. I would say that things do seem to have changed a little bit. Joe not a bit. Joe is still exactly the same. I don't know what his secret to counter the aging process is. Maybe it's 3 wives. I don't know. But Good to be back, good to be with you, and introduce some of our speakers. By the way, that's not simultaneously, that's sequentially. So our panel is going to talk about communication challenges, and this time with the professionals. Just want to talk briefly about what I see different between 1999 and today. You know, in 1999, I don't think we all really knew that we were living in the really good old days. I mean, that was a time when the global market was growing 15%, the Canadian market growing at 11.5%, which per year, you know, year-on-year growth, very, very high numbers. Now look at 2008, what's happened. All of this predictable, but nonetheless, when it hits you in the face, you know, the global pharma market last year growing just 4.4%. Canadian market, by global standards, doing really quite well. You compare that 6.6 with the 1.3% growth that they saw in that huge American market, U.S. market last year, and you begin to understand why, you know, hey, it may be tough here, guys, but it's a heck of a sight tougher further south. Of course, here, like everywhere, it helps if you're in the specialist sector, and here it helps if you're in the biotech sector, but as Peter's going to tell us, even biotech isn't without its challenges. For the future, it wouldn't be IMS if we didn't give you a few more numbers. Our industry, I think we all know this, is more insulated from the vagaries of the economic system than most. The global downturn, obviously it is impacting us, it is going to impact us, but nothing like it's impacting, say, the retail or the auto sectors. So we look at our GDP forecasts for the year. It's all over the place. Even in the current quarter, which finishes in about a week, the economists can't agree whether we're going to see a 4.5% decline year on year or a 9% decline year on year. Looking out over the year as a whole, the optimists, and I think they're probably crazy optimistic, say it's going to shrink 1.2%, and the pessimists say maybe minus 3%. In light of that, we're still playing, I can tell you, we're still playing with our forecasts for the year. We had a number out there somewhere between 4, maybe just over 5%, but frankly, having seen the very poor January numbers after a blockbuster, I mean, December was a huge number, both in consumer offtake and shipments into the trade. January, there was a decline year on year. There's recovery in February. There's a few signs there, folks, that you may be running inventories low out in the trade because the consumer offtake is running a little ahead of shipments in. But overall, it looks like the year is going to give us somewhere, I would suspect, closer to 4 than 5% year-on-year growth. And this all raises challenges. You guys know it. You've been dealing with it for years. You know, this is just a sample of some of the statements, some of the leading figures in pharma on a global basis are saying, you know, it all adds up to, with these kinds of pressures before the economic meltdown, is need for transformation. Pharma finds itself at a crossroads. Pharma, I think, has to reinvent itself. We've seen a couple of huge mergers. And by the way, Russell, I may have a less reliable source than you, but